Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions Publishing, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This one is called We Lead: Building Connection, Community, and Collaboration for Women in Business. And you guys, this is volume 3 from an amazing book series from lead author AliceAnne Loftus. AliceAnne, you had such a big vision and mission for this book. I'm so grateful to be here guiding it. The experts who came around, grabbed your hand, who you gathered to put these amazing practices. Oh my gosh, you guys, this was like that book. And I keep on saying it, but it's true. It's like if we had all had this at the beginning of our businesses and this community and these practices, like, yeah, catapult, like 10x easy, right? So I can't wait for you all to meet the very cool people I have in my Zoom room today. Maureen Benkovich is a life coach, speaker, and host of the Sober Fit Life podcast, teaching women how to lead with clarity and confidence without leaning on alcohol. Maura Snagowski is the CEO of Snagowski Life Group, where they elevate women and protect loved ones. And Tara De Leon is here. She's an award-winning personal trainer, speaker, podcaster, and author who empowers women to build strength, confidence, and a life they love, all while ditching diet culture. Oh my gosh, ladies, welcome. I can't wait to get into this juicy conversation about We Lead. Maura, you're going to start the party off today. Tell us a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
I would love to. I wrote chapter 11, Becoming Me by Unbecoming Her, How to Release Expectations and Reclaim Yourself. And the biggest why was my journey of redefining what expectations look like for me. I noticed that everyone else could benefit from that as well. So that was helping someone find themselves again in a journey that maybe has gone a little sideways.
Can you remember what the main expectation you had that was really blocking you? Like, what was the big one?
Perfectionism.
Oh my gosh, anyone?
Yeah. Doing it all. So, and
Yeah.
perfectly. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about this. Like, when you were looking at yourself inside of that perfectionism, how were you showing up that I mean, we could talk about it now, right? I'm sure all of us could talk about like this in retrospect and go, oh my God, look what I did. But how was that showing up for you?
It came across as a lot of resentment, and not showing up as who I really am. I was carrying this very heavy weight that nobody could see because I was putting on this facade of having it all together and knowing what to do and not needing any help. That was a big piece. I was doing it all on my own. And that became really heavy and exhausting to carry.
I am so glad that you're bringing up resentment specifically
Mhm.
because I believe if that the awareness of this is completely life changing. And I remember, you guys are going to chuckle at me. I had laundry resentment. Like I had resentment about having to do everything. And like,
Mhm.
fast forward, I mean, I love cleaning my house at this point. I love the feng shui of it. And I had to look at the places that I had resentment for these things that actually I'm grateful for now. So tell me a little bit more about that, Maura. Like, what's important for us to know about that awareness?
It showed up for me in how I spoke to people that I love. And there was an edge and a sharpness, and just anyone that asked me a question or asked me to do one more thing became this huge thing and I couldn't explain or quantify to them how much that one little thing felt like it was just adding on top of everything else I had going on. I have 3 young kids, so being asked to go get snack after I had just done everything was like, you want me to do what? but they're so little that they couldn't do it themselves. So I noticed that in my tone, and realized that that's where it was coming from.
So there's a lot more amazing stuff to this story, you guys. And when you dive into this book, you're going to realize that these authors are really being vulnerable. They're putting real vulnerable stories into this book, and we know that you will relate and see yourselves and hopefully feel inspired and hopeful about that, because it's really only when you can get to that place that you can, transform it and get to the other side. So, Maura, thank you for doing that. And
Yeah.
just for saying yes to this project, for being here today. So, Tara,
It
let's
was the
move to
easiest.
you. Sorry, go ahead again. Oh,
Yes. I
oh,
said it was the easiest, yes.
okay. Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit there. Yay, thank you. Tara, tell us a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
Yeah, so my chapter is called Burn the Rule Book: The Courage to Take Up Space in Rooms That Weren't Built for You. And I just wanted to share this story because I think so many of us in business feel like we maybe don't fit in our industry. Like maybe the industry is made for someone of a different gender or someone of a different age or someone of a different image. Like it just, there's so many people that don't necessarily feel like they fit in. And that is certainly how I felt in my industry. And so I wanted to share my story and kind of like share and inspire people to realize that if you don't fit in, you can create your own space. You can create your own room and you get to decide what the rules are there. And you get to decide who enters your room. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Every time I hear you speak about this topic, I am inspired, first of all.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and it's like you give me this feeling of not wanting to put up with the bullshit. Just like
Yes.
yeah, like and if you were going to inspire, maybe somebody listening about that, it's not always easy, is it? To
No.
be in that room and like figure out what you're going to say or how you're going to show up, or and you have these feelings. So like, what do you want to tell that person today?
So I think for me, there was a very long time where I didn't even realize that I didn't fit in the room. Like I thought I was doing good and that everyone was on board with me being in the room. And then it was a very rude awakening, like literally rude and also a rude awakening, um, for me to realize kind of that I needed more for my life. And it was terrifying because as I sat there realizing that this is no longer where I belong, I immediately thought, well, I have a mortgage and I have a daycare payment and I have all these things. So on principle, I want to like throw my stuff down and be like, I quit. I'm out of this room. But luckily, the more logical side of me prevailed, and I was like, okay, let me calm down and let me take a moment to think about what I'm going to do before I make any sort of rash decision. So, if you are in a situation where you're feeling like you want to make a change, but it's terrifying, I get it. It is scary. And it doesn't stop being scary. I just think we've become more well equipped to deal with it as we practice, right? We put our reps in. We put our reps into the scary stuff. So it becomes more normal for us to do that.
And are you in that now? Like, are you feeling a bit more normal about it? Do you still have some fears? What happens nowadays?
Yeah, right. So some days I'm terrified. And other days it's like this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Right? So it really like the scary part comes when I think about what comes next for me. Like where's my next step? So I built my own room, but do I want to make the room bigger? Do I want to invite more people into my room? So that's a little bit intimidating and scary, but mostly it's like exciting. I call it nerve sighted.
My term for that is purpose driven fear. So yes, I like nerve sighted.
Totally.
Tara, thank you
Of
for
course.
saying yes to this, for being back in your beautiful chapter, and also just for your partnership in the past with your Hot Mess to Hot Mom book and all of the just the positive messaging that you're bringing to the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Maureen, tell us a little bit of your why behind your chapter.
My chapter is called The Alcohol Free Advantage: Unshakable Confidence for Life and Business. And I feel really passionate about this because women have been sold a bill of goods that alcohol makes you network better, have more confidence, be in a room and not be anxious, be able to hang with the guys in the corporate world, when really it is one of the most disempowering substances on the planet, especially for women. And I think it's important to get that message out there in a way that is curiosity based and compassion based, to have women take a look at themselves honestly and say, is this substance holding me back? Is there more to me and my potential? What if I took a break with compassion and curiosity from alcohol and experience things like networking and working with other people? What would it look like then? So curiosity.
Oh my gosh. Powerful, powerful questions and
Yeah.
statements about that. And like, I feel like, all right, where do we try to fit in, but completely sabotage our own health and well being, right? Which I'm sure everyone is a little bit guilty of here and there, but we don't have to. I want you to talk a little bit more about the clarity you felt because you made a decision not to drink,
Mhm.
and some of the good stuff, like what has that
Yeah.
done for you?
Well, change can only happen when you have awareness. And I started to become aware that my mental health was declining: depression, anxiety, irritability, poor self esteem. And yet I was an entrepreneur, taking care of myself, running businesses. And, it was out of alignment with myself. And that's a very bad feeling, to be out of alignment with who you are deeply. So when I started taking a look at that, and I realized alcohol really has a lot of physiological and neurological effects on your mental health. And we're not even touching the physical health, your gut health, so many other ramifications. But as far as being in business, clear headed, sharp minded, making good decisions, being alcohol free is really an advantage. And I share a very personal story in the book about how I made some bad business decisions because I was drinking at night for stress, which is what a lot of people do, right? So again, it's not judgment. It's like, can I do more in my life if I were to remove this substance for a while and see, go through the experience. And so I went through the experience and I realized, yeah, I am a lot better off without alcohol.
There was a time where I was thinking about this for myself, and realizing that the clearer and healthier this vessel was, the better intuitive messages it was getting.
Mhm.
Like full on downloads, like full channel for divine wisdom. And that might sound corny to some people, but the cleaner I stay, the
Yeah.
more powerful I feel. And I feel like, part of what Maureen is telling us is you're going to feel that power come back too.
Mhm.
Yeah. What else in there?
Yeah, I think it's important to know that, there's a lot of marketing going on here. We've been conditioned. Shows like Sex in the City, all we see in books and movies is that if you're a sophisticated, empowered businesswoman, you have to be drinking, right? And that's really a lie. But we can know these things intellectually, but you have to go through the experience and learn how to replace all the jobs you've been giving alcohol: de-stressing, boredom, networking, confidence, and go through them to build those new neural pathways and that new confidence. So, and then you will experience the clarity, right? It's not enough to know intellectually, quote unquote, alcohol is bad for me. It's, let me take my own body and mind through an experience, at least 30 days without alcohol, doing my normal life, and see, is there a difference? That is what will help every individual make the informed choice for themselves.
Maureen, thank you for saying yes to this project, putting your beautiful words into the book. You three, I have huge, huge gratitude for all of you today. I gave you the challenge of putting those vulnerable stories in there, and you all did it brilliantly. And then in the second part of these chapters, you guys are the practices, like some practical golden nuggets, strategies, right? That we can practice and do and incorporate into our businesses. I wished I had this book in the beginning of my business, and really the community of resources. I want to do a little shout out also. I'm going to give you all a little peek of to our little book cover here. Shout out to Jennifer Osterhaus. Thank you,
Ooh,
Jennifer. Yes, for this
look how
beautiful,
gorgeous.
right? For
Really
this
nice.
beautiful book cover, and let everyone see what we're talking about today. So, Tara, what does authentic leadership mean to you?
So I feel like if you're an authentic leader, you are showing up as your best self, but you're also not hiding when things don't necessarily go the way that you'd hoped they would have gone. Never in my life did I think that I would end up in the situation where I am now. Like, I firmly believed that I would retire from the gym that I work at. And never did I think, like, you know what, I'm going to start my own business and it's going to be weight neutral and it's going to change the world. Like, that wasn't on my game plan for life. So I feel like when the catalyst for all this happened, which you can read about in my chapter, happened, that's when I decided I could not live inauthentically any longer, even though I didn't realize that's the situation I was in. So showing up authentically to me is just like putting it all out there and being transparent through the process, and also supporting others who are on the same journey.
I love listening to you talk about this. Yet I was almost going to ask you to share that moment, but I'm not going to. We're going to keep it a secret because you guys have to read this piece in Tara's story. Thank you for kicking that question off so well. Maureen, what do you want to add? What does authentic leadership mean to you?
Yeah. Authentic leadership. I'm leading by example. Vulnerability kills shame. So I am sharing my history of drinking and how I got caught up in drinking of more than I wanted to. That's something most people want to just keep to themselves. But how can I help other people if I don't put it out there that, hey, I get it. I get it, how you got here. I get it that you're struggling silently, that you're feeling shame, you're isolating. You don't want anybody to know. But the best thing you can do is to be vulnerable with safe people and be willing to try. There's that curiosity piece again with self-compassion. And I try to model that because that's changed my life. So that's being authentic to me.
Yeah, also very powerful. Vulnerability kills the shame. That's
That is Brene Brown. I didn't make that up. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, Brene and the vulnerability stuff
right.
is yeah, good stuff. Okay, Maura, it's hard to go last on this one, but I know you've got your 2 cents about this. What does authentic leadership mean to you?
I mean, I think Tara and Maureen said it really beautifully. And just to reiterate that, showing up as your best self, but your true self. So showing up on the days that it's hard and letting people see that, and also celebrating the wins with equal measure. So making space for the good and the bad, and not saying that it always has to be perfect or it always looks bright and shiny. Like, there are other sides to this that are there, and I don't want anyone to be blindsided by those. As a leader, I want them to know what's coming, and stand next to them while they go through it.
Yes, fantastic. You all, I love playing in the sandbox with you all, because you're walking the walk of this every day, and also being out loud about it. You're here interviewing about it, you're writing about it in the book, and you're really sort of redefining this for people. I think it's badass. Um, I want to know a little bit more about your practices. Maureen, if you're going to really leave people with an idea here, the most important thing you want them to know about that alcohol free advantage, what do you want to leave people with?
It's so important. I keep saying these words over and over again, but to approach change with self-compassion and curiosity. We know for sure that shame and blame and isolation does not affect change. If you look at books like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, we know that positive emotion is what affects change. So my coaching is through positive emotion, relatability. Let's go through this together. Let's give it a try. Let's try replacing, rewiring your brain literally to not default to alcohol for stress, and just see how far you can go without it. And let's see what happens.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Maura, for you, what's that thing you want people to know about releasing those expectations?
You have to recognize them first. So you can't release something that you aren't aware of that you're holding on to. And that's why through the practice of being with yourself and being quiet to be able to see what comes up, then you know what needs to be let go of and how to move forward without trying to scramble for pieces of the puzzle.
I hope you all allow yourself to rewind and listen to that again, because with awareness, you have a choice. Awareness is everything. It's everything for everything that you want to do in life, right? And that kind of awareness, you have to recognize it first. You have to know what it is a big deal. It's big potato stuff. Thank you. All right, Tara, what is it that you want to leave us with in terms of the courage to take up space in those rooms that weren't built for us?
I think taking up space is a really hard thing to do. It can feel scary. It can feel intimidating. It can feel uncertain. So I created something that I call the Take Up Space Framework, which is just a little guideline to kind of help you figure out how to do it. So I have some of this in the chapter, but the gist of it is you want to tell your truth. You want to undo the old rules. You want to show up anyway. So figure out what's important to you, figure out what's holding you back, and then undo the rules. If it's that, in my case, for example, personal trainers should all be like jacked and juicy and shouldn't be in larger bodies, I'm undoing that rule. I'm in a larger body and I'm also a great trainer. Those are not mutually exclusive. And I'm showing up anyway. Like, yep, I'm in a larger body and my clients still get a great workout. They still are getting exactly what they want from me. Those two don't have to be mutually exclusive. So I think showing up and trying it out is really important when you take up space.
Beautiful.
And if it
Thank you,
doesn't work,
Tara.
you pivot.
Exactly.
You're not tied to this.
We like the pivot. We like the pivot. Right. We have the prerogative of changing our mind, of shifting directions, of making a pivot for all your topics. Actually, it's good to remember that.
Yep.
Tara, Maura, Maureen, to all three of you, thank you so much for what you do in the world. Thank you for being here today to share it with everyone. You guys, this is way more than a book. This is a really generous community. Maybe you have a question from what you heard today or want to carry on the conversation. Maybe you need some support in these areas that these women cover. Please come on down into the show notes. I have everybody hooked up with their websites. Go explore what they're up to. It's a lot. And of course, we would love for you to hop over to Amazon and grab a copy of We Lead. I've got the link down below for that. And lastly, today, everyone, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Laura.